Welcome back for another deep dive. Today, you and I are going to step into a world that's often overlooked, even though we use it every day. Vertical transportation systems.
Oh, yeah.
Think elevators and escalators, but this isn't just about how they work.
Right.
We're going to explore their history, how they've shaped our cities, and what the future holds based on this comprehensive book I've got right here.
Oh, wow.
Get ready to impress your friends with some serious elevator and escalator trivia.
I think they'll be very impressed by what I learned today for sure.
I hope so. Speaking of history, this book starts us off with a real head-scratcher. The Tower of Babel.
Okay.
I mean, what does that have to do with elevators?
It's fascinating how something we take for granted has such a rich history and is so deeply intertwined with the evolution of urban life.
Right.
You see, throughout history, humans have always tried to push the boundaries of what's possible, reaching for the heavens, literally and figuratively.
Right.
The Tower of Babel embodies that ambition, that desire to ascend, and that same drive has fueled the development of vertical transportation.
So it's like the Tower of Babel was an early prototype for reaching new heights, even if they didn't have the technology back then.
Precisely.
That makes a lot of sense.
And it's important to remember that context as we move through history. The Industrial Revolution, for example, wasn't just about factories and machines.
Yeah.
It was a catalyst for the development of modern cities.
Yeah.
And cities need a way to move people and goods vertically.
Enter the elevator.
That's right.
But we're not talking about those rickety hand-cranked contraptions, are we?
Oh, no. The Industrial Revolution ushered in a new era of innovation. You had stronger materials like steel, more efficient power sources, and a surge in engineering ingenuity. This paved the way for the safe and reliable elevators that made skyscrapers possible.
It's funny to think that without elevators, the iconic skylines we see today wouldn't exist.
That's right.
We'd still be stuck in low-rise buildings.
Absolutely. And the book uses Nigeria as a case study to show just how critical vertical transportation is becoming in rapidly developing urban areas.
Oh, interesting.
Think about it. As cities grow denser and land becomes more scarce, the only way to go is up.
Right, so let's dive into the nuts and bolts of these systems. I know there are different types of elevators, not just the ones that take us up and down in office buildings.
Exactly. You have passenger elevators, the workhorses of vertical transportation, but you also have freight elevators designed to handle heavy loads.
Right.
And service elevators for tasks like moving equipment or supplies within a building.
Okay, that makes sense. And what about the difference between hydraulic and traction elevators? I always get those two mixed up.
Think of it this way. Hydraulic elevators are like car jacks.
Okay.
They use fluid pressure to push a piston which lifts the elevator car.
Got it.
They're great for low-rise buildings because they're relatively simple and cost-effective.
So it's like a powerful lift pushing the car up from below.
Precisely. Traction elevators, on the other hand, are all about a system of cables and counterweights.
Oh,
It's like a sophisticated pulley system.
Yeah.
These are much more efficient for skyscrapers because they can travel much higher distances.
Ah, so that's why you don't see many hydraulic elevators in those towering skyscrapers.
Exactly. And it's not just about height. Engineers also have to consider passenger flow,
Right.
speed,
Right.
energy efficiency,
Yeah.
and a host of other factors when designing an elevator system. It's quite complex when you think about it.
It really is. We step into these little boxes every day without realizing how much engineering goes into them.
And let's not forget about escalators, those moving staircases that effortlessly transport us between floors.
Yeah, those are fascinating too.
Yeah.
They always seem to be moving even when no one's on them. How does that work?
Escalators operate on a continuous loop system.
Okay.
Imagine a chain with steps attached to it.
Uh-huh.
This chain rotates, and the springs are guided along a track, creating that continuous flow.
So it's like a giant conveyor belt for people constantly moving.
That's a great analogy. And just like with elevators, escalators come in different designs.
Right.
Depending on the space and the volume of people they need to move. You'll see steeper escalators in subway stations, for example, where space is limited.
It's incredible how much thought goes into designing these systems that we often take for granted.
Yeah,
But with all this complexity, there must be challenges, right?
absolutely. As buildings get taller and cities more crowded, vertical transportation faces growing pains.
Yeah, I can imagine things get tricky when you're trying to move thousands of people up and down a skyscraper efficiently.
That's right. Managing passenger traffic is a major hurdle.
Yeah.
And then you have the safety considerations, which are paramount. And of course, the need to minimize energy consumption.
Right.
These are all challenges that engineers are constantly working to address.
Speaking of how they work, let's peek under the hood for a moment.
Right.
What makes these systems tick from a technical standpoint?
Well, both elevators and escalators rely on a delicate interplay of electrical and mechanical systems.
Mm-hmm.
For elevators, you have the motor, which provides the power for movement.
Okay, so that's the muscle. What about the brains of the operation?
That would be the control system, which manages everything from speed and direction to stopping at the correct floor.
Okay.
And of course, you can't forget the braking mechanisms, which are crucial for safety and a smooth stop.
Makes sense. And escalators, are their inner workings similar?
They share some similarities, but have unique elements.
Yeah.
Escalators rely on powerful continuous motors to keep those steps moving.
Right.
You also have chains that drive the system and intricate step mechanisms that ensure a smooth transition from moving to stationary surfaces.
It sounds incredibly complex.
Yeah.
I bet installation and maintenance are no walk in the park either.
You're right. The book really emphasizes the importance of expert installation and regular maintenance.
Yeah.
Think about it. These systems carry thousands of people every day. So safety and reliability are paramount.
I imagine there are strict regulations around all of this.
Absolutely. International safety standards like ASME and EN regulations ensure these systems meet rigorous requirements to protect both passengers and the technicians who work on them.
Right.
Plus, local authorities like the Lagos State Safety Commission play a crucial role in enforcing these standards.
It's reassuring to know there are so many layers of safety built into these systems.
It's essential, especially as we move toward taller buildings and more complex systems.
Speaking of the future, what does it hold for vertical transportation? What exciting trends are on the horizon?
This is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
The rise of automation is transforming the industry as we speak.
I've heard buzzwords like smart elevators, but what does that actually mean?
Think about it. Control systems are becoming increasingly intelligent.
Yeah.
Imagine a scenario where AI-driven systems manage elevator traffic in real time, adapting to passenger flow and eliminating those long waits during rush hour.
So no more impatiently tapping your foot while waiting for an elevator to arrive. Sign me up.
Exactly. And that's just scratching the surface. Smart elevators could even learn your habits and preferences, taking you to your desired floor without you having to press a button.
Wow. That sounds straight out of a sci-fi movie.
It might seem that way, but the technology is evolving rapidly.
Right.
And these advancements raise all sorts of questions about how we'll interact with buildings in the future.
This is already so much more than I ever thought there was to know about elevators and escalators. What else did this book reveal?
Well, one area that particularly caught my eye was the focus on sustainability, especially in regions like Africa, where access to reliable electricity can be a challenge.
So how do we make vertical transportation more sustainable? Are there any promising solutions in the works?
The book delves into the potential of solar-powered elevators.
Oh, wow.
Harnessing the power of the sun, especially in regions with abundant sunlight, could be a game changer.
That's a brilliant idea. But can solar panels really generate enough power to lift an entire elevator car?
Modern solar panels are remarkably efficient. And with advancements in battery technology, it's becoming increasingly feasible to store that energy and use it to power elevators.
So it's like having a mini power plant right on the roof of the building.
That's a great way to put it. And the beauty of this approach is that it reduces reliance on the electrical grid, which can be unreliable in some areas.
Are there any real-world examples of this technology in action?
Absolutely. There are already a number of pilot projects around the world exploring the use of solar-powered elevators.
Oh, cool.
It's still early days, but the initial results are very promising.
It's inspiring to see these kinds of innovations taking shape. It shows that we can create a more sustainable future, even in industries that traditionally rely on a lot of energy.
It's not just about environmental benefits either.
Right.
These innovations can also lead to significant cost savings over time, making them attractive for building owners and developers.
That's what I call a win-win. But we can't forget about the human element in all of this.
That's right.
We've talked a lot about technology, but what about the people who design, build, and maintain these complex systems?
You're absolutely right. The book emphasizes the importance of investing in people as much as technology.
Yeah.
The future of vertical transportation depends on a skilled workforce of engineers, technicians, and safety inspectors who can keep up with these advancements.
So it's about nurturing the next generation of elevator and escalator experts.
Precisely. And it's not just about quantity, it's about quality. We need to ensure that these professionals have the training and support to excel in a rapidly evolving field.
Speaking of training, the book highlights the value of hands-on, practical workshop experiences for technicians.
Yeah.
Why is that so important?
These systems are intricate.
Right.
Technicians need to understand not just the theory, but also how to troubleshoot problems and perform maintenance tasks in real-world settings.
So it's not enough to just read the manual, you have to get in there and experience it firsthand.
Exactly. And with the pace of innovation accelerating, continuous learning and professional development are more crucial than ever before.
It's amazing to think how far we've come from those early hoisting contraptions.
It really is a testament to human ingenuity.
Yeah.
And with a rapid pace of technological innovation, the future of vertical transportation is bound to be even more fascinating.
Well, you've definitely given me a lot to think about. I'll never look at an elevator or escalator the same way again.
That's what we aim for, to spark curiosity and a deeper appreciation for the world around us.
Well said. Let's take a quick pause here.
Quick.
When we come back, we'll delve even deeper into the world of vertical transportation, exploring some of the cutting-edge innovations and the challenges that come with them.
Sounds good. Welcome back. Before the pause, we were discussing how technology is changing the landscape of vertical transportation.
It's amazing to think about all those advancements, like AI-driven traffic management systems and elevators that anticipate our needs.
Those advancements bring a new set of challenges.
Oh, how so?
Well, remember how we discussed the difficulties of setting up manufacturing plants in Nigeria?
Yeah.
Let's dig a little deeper into the specifics.
Okay, I'm all ears. What are some of the biggest hurdles they're facing?
One of the key challenges is the lack of a robust local supply chain.
Okay.
Many of the components needed to build these sophisticated systems have to be imported, which can be expensive and lead to logistical headaches.
I can imagine relying on imports for essential parts would make things tricky.
Exactly. And then there's the issue of skilled labor. We talked about the importance of training technicians.
Right.
But finding enough qualified workers is another obstacle.
It sounds like a bit of a chicken and egg situation.
Yeah.
You need skilled workers to build a thriving industry, but attracting those workers requires a robust industry in the first place.
You hit the nail on the head. It's a classic dilemma for emerging industries.
Yeah.
And then you have the regulatory hurdles, navigating the complexities of permits, licenses, and compliance standards.
It sounds like they're facing a real uphill battle. But the book seems optimistic about Nigeria's potential to become a leader in this field. What are some of the reasons for that optimism?
Well, think about it. Nigeria has a large and rapidly growing population, which translates into a soaring demand for vertical transportation.
Right.
As cities expand and land becomes scarcer, the need for elevators and escalators will only intensify.
So the demand is definitely there. That's a good starting point.
Absolutely. And they also have a young and entrepreneurial workforce.
Okay.
A generation that's eager to embrace new technologies and innovative solutions.
Right.
That energy and drive are invaluable for any burgeoning industry.
That makes a lot of sense. It sounds like they have the ingredients for success if they can overcome those initial challenges.
Exactly. It's a matter of strategic planning,
Uh-huh.
targeted investment,
Right.
and a commitment to nurturing local talent.
Speaking of investing in the future, let's circle back to the topic of sustainability.
Okay.
You mentioned solar-powered elevators earlier.
Yeah.
Is that technology actually viable on a large scale?
It's definitely a promising avenue, especially in regions with abundant sunlight like Africa.
But can solar panels really generate enough power to lift an entire elevator car, especially in a busy building?
You might be surprised by how efficient modern solar panels have become. And with advancements in battery storage, capturing and storing that energy is becoming increasingly practical.
So it's like having a mini power plant right on the roof of the building.
That's a great way to put it. And the beauty of this approach is that it reduces reliance on the electrical grid, which can be unreliable in some areas.
Are there any real-world examples of solar-powered elevators in action today?
Yes, there are actually a number of pilot projects around the world demonstrating the feasibility of this technology.
Oh, wow.
It's still early days, but the initial results are encouraging.
That's exciting. What other sustainability innovations are on the horizon? Anything that really catches your eye?
There's a lot of fascinating research happening right now.
Yeah.
One area that's particularly intriguing is regenerative braking systems.
Regenerative braking. Isn't that something they use in electric cars?
It's the same principle applied to elevators.
Okay.
When an elevator descends or slows down, the braking system can capture the kinetic energy that's normally lost as heat and convert it back into electricity.
So instead of wasting energy, they're actually generating it. That's brilliant.
It's a clever way to increase energy efficiency and reduce operating costs.
I love how these innovations not only benefit the environment, but also make economic sense.
That's the beauty of sustainable design. It often creates a win-win scenario. But let's not forget about the human element. We've talked a lot about technology, but what about the people who design, build, and maintain these sophisticated systems?
That's a crucial point. We can't just focus on the machines we need to invest in the people who make it all happen.
The book really drives that message home. The future of vertical transportation isn't just about technological advancements. It's about investing in the education, training, and well-being of the workforce.
So we need to make sure we have enough skilled engineers, technicians, and safety inspectors to keep up with the demand and ensure these systems are operating safely and efficiently.
Absolutely. And it's not just about quantity, it's about quality.
Right.
We need to ensure that these professionals have the knowledge, skills, and ongoing training to handle the complexities of modern vertical transportation.
Speaking of training, you mentioned earlier how important practical workshop experience is for technicians.
Right.
Can you elaborate on that a bit?
These systems are incredibly intricate.
Yeah.
Technicians need to understand not just the theory from textbooks, but also how to diagnose problems and perform maintenance tasks in real-world scenarios.
So it's about bridging the gap between theoretical knowledge and hands-on expertise.
Precisely. And with technology evolving at such a rapid pace, continuous learning and professional development are more important than ever.
It's mind-boggling to think about how far we've come from those rudimentary hoisting devices of the past.
It really is.
It's a testament to human ingenuity and our relentless pursuit of pushing boundaries.
It really is. And with the rapid pace of innovation, it's exciting to imagine what the future holds for vertical transportation.
Well, this deep dive has certainly opened my eyes to a whole new world. I'll never look at an elevator or escalator the same way again.
That's what we hope for, to spark curiosity and a deeper understanding of the world around us.
Before we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to highlight from our exploration of vertical transportation? Any final thoughts or insights?
I think it's important to remember that these systems are more than just machines or modes of transportation.
Yeah.
They're integral parts of our urban fabric, connecting people and places and shaping the way we live and work.
That's a great point. They often fade into the background of our daily lives, but they play a vital role in shaping our experience of cities.
And as cities continue to grow and evolve, vertical transportation will only become more important in the years to come.
It's fascinating to think about how these systems will continue to adapt and evolve alongside our changing urban landscapes.
I believe the future holds tremendous potential for innovation and progress in vertical transportation.
Well, you've certainly given me a lot to ponder. I'm eager to see what the future holds.
I share that sentiment, and I'm sure our listeners are feeling equally inspired. So we've got some fascinating material to dig into about this guy, Tosin C. Ogunsanya. But you know what really caught my eye was how he even got into this whole thing.
Yeah, his background's pretty wild.
Like, we're talking geophysics.
Geophysics.
Yeah, like studying the earth, rocks and minerals and all that.
I would not have pegged that as a direct line to elevators.
Right. What do earthquakes and fault lines have to do with getting people up to the 100th floor?
Well, I guess if you think about it, geophysics is all about forces and stresses and how things move under pressure. So maybe those principles kind of translate to these massive systems that are hauling people up and down skyscrapers.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a pretty big leap.
True.
Like, how do you even explain that on a resume?
Oh, yeah, I used to study tectonic plates, but now I'm really into moving walkways. But hey, maybe that's his secret weapon. A fresh perspective in a field that's been around forever.
Maybe he's the guy who can see solutions that everyone else misses.
Could be.
And it sounds like he's doing pretty well over there at Edcoff Unlimited, leading their whole lift division. But, it's not just about the technical stuff with him.
Oh, really?
He's also described as this amazing leader, someone who really focuses on building up his team. Like, he's known for mentoring all these engineers and technicians, really pushing them to think outside the box and, innovate.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, this isn't exactly a static field. I mean, new technology is always popping up. Safety standards are constantly evolving,
right?
And buildings themselves are getting crazier and more complex.
And you got to have someone who's not just keeping up, but staying ahead of the curve.
Absolutely.
And it seems like Ogunsanya gets that. And speaking of buildings, His success at Etkov seems like it's tied to how good he is at building relationships. Like not just with his team, but with clients and stakeholders and everybody.
Oh yeah, that's huge in this kind of business.
I mean, think about it. You're dealing with architects, developers, building owners. Everyone's got their own priorities and demands. You got to be able to navigate all that.
Absolutely.
Make sure everyone feels heard.
Yeah.
And ultimately get those deals signed.
It's all about trust and reliability.
Yeah. You got to deliver on what you promise, especially when you're talking about something as critical as vertical transportation.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting, he even co-authored a whole book about this stuff.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, it shows he's not just about keeping the knowledge to himself.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's willing to share and collaborate and contribute to the whole industry.
I like that.
And, speaking of the whole industry, we can't talk about moving people hundreds of feet in the air without talking about safety.
Oh yeah, that's the big one.
It's a huge responsibility.
Massive.
And from what we've learned, Ogunsanya takes that very seriously.
Yeah.
Like he's all about compliance with industry standards.
Yeah. Regular
audits and assessments. Making sure everything is up to code and beyond. Because when people's lives are literally on the line, you can't afford to cut any corners.
Exactly.
And I bet that kind of rigor not only keeps people safe, but also builds a lot of trust with Etkof's clients.
Yeah. When your reputation's on the line, that kind of attention to detail is priceless.
So, looking at all of this, it really makes you think.
What's that?
Here's this guy who didn't follow the traditional path.
Uh-huh.
Yet he's become this leader in the vertical transportation world. It challenges all those assumptions we have about what it takes to succeed in a technical field.
Yeah, we often think it's all about, being a technical genius.
Right.
But Ogunsanya shows that it's just as much about communication and collaboration and a passion for learning.
Absolutely. And a commitment to safety.
Can't forget that. On that note, let's take a moment to gather our thoughts and prepare for our final segment. When we return, we'll leave our listeners with a thought-provoking question to ponder as they continue their own exploration of this fascinating world. Welcome back for the final part of our deep dive into the world of vertical transportation.
It's been quite a journey, hasn't it?
Yeah, it really has.
We've explored everything from the ancient roots of vertical ambition to the mind-boggling technologies shaping the future of elevators and escalators.
It's incredible to think how much goes into these systems we use every day.
I know, I've learned a ton.
Me too. And I hope our listeners have as well.
As we wrap up,
I'd
like to leave you with something to think about. A question that might spark your own imagination as you move through the world.
I love that idea. Go for it.
So here it is. Considering the rapid pace of urbanization and our relentless drive to build ever taller structures, what kind of groundbreaking vertical transportation solutions might we see in the coming decade?
Ooh, that's a great question.
It really gets you thinking, doesn't it?
It does. I'm already picturing something straight out of a sci-fi movie. Flying cars, maybe?
Oh, that would certainly change our commutes, wouldn't it?
Right. Or teleportation pods. Just step in and arrive instantly on another floor.
Those are definitely intriguing possibilities. But even without venturing into the realm of science fiction, there's so much potential for innovation within the existing framework of vertical transportation.
I see what you mean. So maybe not flying cars just yet, but what about personalized transportation experiences, where elevators anticipate our needs and whisk us to our destinations with incredible efficiency?
Precisely. Imagine stepping into an elevator, and it already knows where you need to go.
Wow.
Based on your schedule or even your current mood.
That would be incredible. No more fumbling for buttons or getting stuck on the wrong floor because you accidentally pressed the wrong one.
Exactly. And it could even factor in traffic patterns and optimize routes to minimize wait times.
That would be a game changer for sure, especially during rush hour.
Or perhaps we'll witness the emergence of entirely new forms of vertical transportation.
Okay, like what?
Systems that challenge our current understanding of physics and engineering.
I'm intrigued. Give me an example.
What if we could move through buildings not just vertically, but in 3 dimensions?
Whoa, hold on.
Colliding effortlessly between floors, almost like swimming through the air.
Now that's what I call thinking outside the box.
It might sound far-fetched, but who knows what the brilliant minds of tomorrow will come up with.
It really makes you wonder how these innovations will reshape our cities and our lives in the years to come.
Imagine skyscrapers becoming even taller and more intricate, pushing the boundaries of architectural design.
Yeah, and think about how these advancements will impact our daily routines, our commutes, even our social interactions.
It's an exciting time to be following the world of vertical transportation. There's so much potential for positive change and progress.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a question to ponder.
Imagine you're designing a building's vertical transportation system. What aspects would you prioritize based on what we've learned about Tosin C. Ogunsanya? Think about that balance of technical know-how, leadership, and safety. It's something to keep in mind as you continue your work. Until next time, keep exploring.